Hi everyone, my name is Megan Mustafa. I'm a marketing professional, and I'm here today to talk about the importance of allyship in supporting gender equity at workplace. I'm joined today by Sara McCabe, VP of Global Commercial Capabilities. Sara, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Very pleased to be included.
You have such a rich and diverse career spanning across data and analytics, value and access, and commercial roles. I'm sure allies must have a role to play in it. How did allies shape your career?
Thank you so much. And indeed, they really have played a very meaningful role. So I've had examples on what I call kind of level one allyship and then level two allyship. So the level one allyship, which has been really meaningful, but I've had a lot of conversations and recall the definition of an ally is someone that is not like me, giving me some advice, feedback, and input. So, okay, in this conversation, I've had really useful discussions around work-life balance, timing of maybe career advancements, which has been really useful. But in the next level of allyship, what I've really experienced, this only in the last 5 or so years of my career, has been an ally being intentional about celebrating my full self, and allowing that diversity to take on more challenges because I'm a working mom. And so what that sounds like is they see my full self as an asset and they name it as such. In things like prioritization, of course, demonstrates high capacity to be a working mom. I think maintaining healthy boundaries and team connection. So that's the second level of allyship that for me, it sounds like a difference in voice to how might you tackle this challenge to you should absolutely go get this challenge because you're well qualified and well suited, given your diverse background. So that to me is the difference in the allyship that I've experienced. And it's been really inspirational because it's pushed me at moments where I might have thought, I guess this is where I plateau, to thinking, I think maybe I have more to give to the organization in a further capacity.
Oh, I love that. I think whoever's listening to this conversation is probably going to think of one or two examples where they'd be pushed beyond what they thought was they were capable of. Could you share one of those examples, maybe in the past 5 years or so?
I usually share with people that I've had my pinnacle role, whatever that means, like 4 times. And so, the first time I became a sales rep at Amgen, having come from a finance background and being, a data geek as a background, took me 6 years to get someone to take a chance to put me in the field in front of customers, right? And I finally got that job, and it was like pinnacle moment. And that happened several other times. But it really was after I have had my fourth child, by the way, that I had a conversation with a male executive who said, why have you not considered being a general manager? And in my mind, I was like, well, I don't know. I have a really big family and we're all right here. And at the time I had a partner that also worked here. And he's like, well, that's all things, but why have you really not considered yourself as a general manager? And it shifted my entire way of considering the problem statement. And it quite honestly really inspired my ambition to push further and see what was possible.
I really like that example. I feel like it's touching onto our next question as well, which is around what role do you think allies play in supporting gender equity at workplace? I feel like you partly answered that with pushing you, believing in you, seeing your potential beyond what you could see potentially.
I agree. I think that's a big part of it, but also just frankly, we can't expect, people that are from underrepresented backgrounds who have historically been left absent, left out, or muted in these conversations to be able to drive significant impact to change that from the seats that they're in. It's really just critically imperative that those who have had the privilege of less obstructed paths speak up, be curious, stay educated, and committed to meaningfully changing and amplifying the voices of those women in specifically the gender situation. Yeah.
As a senior leader at Amgen, I see you quite often prominently speaking about gender equity issues and really really showcasing strong examples and supporting others around you as well. Could you maybe just share a little bit, how can women, particularly in leadership positions like yourself, support allyship at workplace, or potentially even pay forward for the younger generation?
I think it's so important, and I'm so glad you asked that question, because I think for, especially, I can speak for myself, but for many of us in leadership positions like mine, I really didn't have very many examples of people that looked necessarily like me at the top. And so whatever I saw, it was so important, and there were few and far between. So I think it's really important to role model and to kind of pay it forward, because there needs to be more examples of women in big jobs who are balancing having a working partner, who may have a family, or more specifically have a young family, or maybe even postponed family until later in life and making those choices. These are all very important realities, and really will be great to see the mirror reflected back to the organization. I think that means a lot. So for me, I take it pretty personally to make sure to share my experience, to bring my full self to work, to be able to also sponsor and support other women who are coming up, who are younger in their careers, who are earlier in their careers. I love to be involved with that group as well. So the role modeling is really important. The other thing is, my challenge back to the organization is, I'm well suited to be a mentor for other females in my organization. I know that, and I'm readily involved. What I think is even more important, though, is I would love to see male senior leaders send some of their male high potential talent to me. I'm thought of when it's coming to developing other females. And I think I am ready and in a really great position to develop future allies within the organization. And we need those men to be active sponsors for our careers. I need them now. The future generation also needs them as well. So I would love to be more formative in creating the development of allies for women.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Thank you for being my interview for today as well.
Thank you so much, Maggie.